have got a long afternoon ahead of me. I have 2 boxes of lard that I need to render, and digging through my freezer while I was cleaning it out, I found lard from 2020 that I'm also gonna render too. We're gonna use the leaf lard to make pies, and the rest of this is just gonna be fat for cooking. Come along. I am Amber from the blog 1898mama.com. I am a homeschooling, homesteading mom of soon to be 6, and I like to take videos of kind of our day-to-day life, what we have going on. So if you are interested in that stuff, go ahead and hit subscribe because you are gonna love the content I have coming up. If you have ever butchered a pig, then you get stuck with a lot of lard should you choose to bring it home. Now, I always do because lard is great to cook with, especially on cast iron skillets. So first thing you want to do is you want to get your pots out. This is going to be a long process, low and slow. So I've got some of my lard out here. I'm going to start. I actually had the butcher grind it for me, so I don't have to grind it or cut it into little pieces. It is probably going to be frozen in one big chunk, so I am probably going to have to like chop it into chunks while I start. Either way, it's going to be a lot easier than having to run it through the grinder myself. So I'm going to get my pots out and get them warming up. This is my popcorn pot. I'm gonna use it today, obviously, for the lard. I have 2 other heavy bottom pots that I'm gonna use. I have also used a crock pot in the past. I might pull that out today. I don't know. We'll see how much we have going on and how much room we have. So I am actually only putting a little bit in to start out with, and you are going super low. Low, 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 and slow. And I'm waiting until these all kind of get started. And then this one's going to, this burner is actually, I have it on lower, but it burns hotter. So this one's actually already getting started, and it does have a little bit more in it. But I am just barely getting it started, and then I will add more once things kind of get rolling. This is what we look like right now. I've got just the beginning going pretty good. I'm going to start adding some more lard to this, and then I'm just going to stir it often and cook it low and slow. I am like actually going and seeing what I've got going on and how much lard I actually do have to render. I'm gonna pull out my roaster oven and start rendering some lard in that as well. Been rendering for a little bit now, so I'm going to show you what it looks like right now. The roaster oven is still working on the very first melting of the beginning stages, so that one's like way behind, but I'm going to show you what we got going on. So this is my burner that cooks fast. It's on low, but it just cooks crazy fast. Now you can still see all the fat we're waiting for something called cracklings to pop up. And when we get those, we'll get a special treat. And this one I'm actually going to turn down just a tiny bit. So it's getting a little bit better. I'll add some more lard here now. Lard is not done rendering, but I'm going to get things ready to go for when it is done, just so it's a little bit easier for me. I washed all of these mason jars really early this morning, so they're all dry now. I really like the smaller ones better just because it's easier to like use throughout normal day-to-day activities. It doesn't matter what size you use. If these aren't enough, I'm going to have to pull out my half-gallon mason jars. So just use whatever glass jars that you have. A stainless steel funnel. You don't want to use plastic because plastic can melt and then it's got those chemicals that can leach into it. A fine mesh strainer like this one. It's going to help keep debris out. And then I'm also using milk filters for like a home dairy cow or whatever. That's what I'm using. If you don't have this, you can use cheesecloth. And even if you don't have cheesecloth, I don't know for sure if this would be enough. You could try it, but if you do it this way, I would actually probably run through a few times. Now you can see here that these are not a nice brown, like cooked brown. We're looking for fried food looking with these lard cracklings. They're actually going to start rising to the top when they're done. Well, story of my life, things just ended up getting crazy. So this is actually the next day. I ended up having to go into town that evening. So luckily I had put that lard into the crock pot because I actually just turned it down and let it just do its thing while I left for about 4 hours. I came back, I checked it, it wasn't quite done. I turned the heat back up, waited a couple hours, strained the lard, and put it in my jars. Overnight, those jars cooled, and now all of my jars are done. Side note, yes, I do have green hair. That is because my daughter dyed my hair earlier with markers. So we're gonna ignore the fact that I did not wash my hair and let it go. Stay-at-home mom problems, right? But I have 3 different sizes. This is not all of the jars that I did. I have most of them put away already. I had to get the counters cleaned for breakfast for lunch today. So I just took a few out and I'm just gonna show you the different sizes that I have and kind of what I prefer. Now I never ended up having to pull out my half-gallon mason jars, thankfully, because those are kind of a pain to get all of the lard out of. But I do have 3 different sizes, as you can tell. I prefer this size because then I can pretty much just leave it on the counter for the most part, depending on kind of looking at my meal plan, what I'm going to cook for that week, how much fat I'm going to need. If I know I'm not going to use it all, then I will put it in the fridge, and I usually go through this between 1 to 2 weeks. One of these will last me about a month, maybe less, 3 to 4 weeks. And one of these, actually when I get these, I just take it out as I need and put it in a glass this size, and then I put the rest in the fridge. Now, the way I store these, so when you put these lids on, actually let me open the small one. When you put these lids on, I did not can these or anything, but because it was hot liquid and I put these on, these actually like self-seal, so they're not officially canned, but they are, like, they're sealed, they're good. I store them in our side room. We don't have heat in the room. It's just a room attached to our house, insulated room, but there's no heat to it, so it stays cool, especially in the winter. Now come springtime, if I have any lard left, I do have to take that out and put it somewhere else. And at that point, I usually move it down into our basement. As of right now, we have a dirt floor basement. It stays pretty cool in the summer, so I don't have to worry about the lard getting bad. But you do not want to keep this in a warm place. It'll get gross. All right, just to show you what it looks like on the inside, we're gonna pop one of these bad boys open and show you what we got. Now this is actually cool already, because I did already move it to the cool room and I just took it out just for this video. Did you hear that pop? And here's what it looks like. Nothing really special. It just looks like a white cream. So when I go to cook, I'll just grab like my cast iron. I'll warm the cast iron up first for a few minutes, and then I just take a spoonful. I don't measure anything. It just looks like that. Put it in my pan, and that's it. Let it melt just like you would use a butter, an oil, anything like that. Now, because this one is not leaf lard, this is just normal lard, there is possibly going to be a little bit of a pig flavoring to it. So I will always cook my eggs with lard. Any of my steaks I cook with lard, like that kind of stuff that I don't mind there being like a porky smell or a porky flavor to. Not a big deal. But as long as you rendered it pretty good, there shouldn't be too much of a problem. Leaf lard you're going to want to use for your pies and anything that you bake with. Thank you so much for spending the last 2 days with me. I really hope you learned something and you enjoyed this video, and the next time that you get a pig, you don't let that fat go to waste. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you would like a recipe card and just to see word by word how to actually render the lard, you can go to 1898mama.com and I have a post there for you. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.